county, certain towns are in right now. Some of those higher population areas like Montpelier and Burlington, we're still waiting on, but we knew this was going to be a close race. And then just across the street over here, it looks like a porch is actually floating right now. And this just into our newsroom, we're being told that a skier has died at Sugarbush in Warren. You may have had sticker shock. The price of gas here in South Burlington is $3.59. Developing news tonight, President Trump has announced the supreme leader of Iran is dead after finding a coding error that dates back to 2017 in a memo that I received from a source. And then down this alleyway, which some leaders say can be a little confusing for students to try to navigate, and they're hoping that this new design that's located on the Redstone campus will help make the center more accessible and easier to find. Nothing makes you feel more like a kid again than being able to get out and go sledding. And with this snow that was just so fluffy, it was great. Take a look at this video, and then to make sure that everything is appropriate and working well, another person comes in and makes any changes. The car hit the porch of this building, then narrowly missed crashing into this tree, then would have had to have enough speed to go over here and fly into the second story of this building over here. Power tools, wooden slabs, and helping hands to repair these two buildings in Waitsfield. State police say just before 1 a.m. Sunday, an Essex man drove off the road and hit a part of a building and then continued straight through the wall of another.
And it was probably at least a 15-foot gap, it looks like, so it's pretty crazy.
Contractors hard at work Monday to secure the rest of the second floor. Alex Starr and his dad, David, own a computer services store in this building.
I heard a loud crash outside, and it sounded kind of like thunder, and then I didn't think much of it until I saw flashing red lights that were outside of my window. And then I came out and I saw all this devastation out here.
David Darr says they have some work to do to safely reopen.
I talked to the fire marshal. He basically said as long as I make it safe up front so nobody tries to climb up on the porch and that nobody can fall off the porch, then we can open up. We're just going to do some well-needed cleaning.
Darr says this isn't the first time a car caused damage in the area. He says someone hit a telephone pole several years ago, and others say people tend to drive too fast on the road. They think they can open the part of the building that wasn't damaged on Tuesday, and then they're just waiting to hear from insurance, both from the driver and their own insurance, about how to pay for all of this. Reporting in Waitsfield, Lucy Caile, Channel 30 News.
A South Burlington child care center is closed for the week after violations filed by state inspectors.
Channel 3's Lucy Caile dug through the data. And Lucy, tell us what happened.
Kat and Darren, the Department for Children and Families filed this report listing 4 violations by the director and a staff member here at Little Beginnings Early Learning Center. I was able to talk to several families who both took their children here to the center and who also worked here as well. And they said it's tough for something like this to happen when it's so hard already to find care in the state.
Was there for 3 weeks and realized, there's way too many red flags that are popping up.
Christina Balderas took her son to Little Beginnings in February, but soon after noticed signs of maltreatment, like her child not being fed enough or signs of dehydration.
He wouldn't look at us in the face for a couple hours after we picked him up, which is really, sorry, it's really hurting.
A pattern that state investigators say they witnessed while at the center. The violations include the director forcefully moving children, including slamming children on the toilet, swearing and yelling in front of infants, and a staff member denying a child the rest of their lunch.
Oh yeah, there's definitely guilt. Should I have read more into this place? Should I have known more? Should I have listened to my gut sooner?
But in a state strapped for affordable childcare options, many families take what they can get when a spot opens. Balderas says she was able to find care for her child, but a former employee we spoke to says she's looking for new care for her child and a new job. She asked that we conceal her identity out of fear her boss will cut off her last paycheck. She says she initially reported the misconduct to the state a couple of months back when she heard complaints about infants seeming stressed at the end of the day and not wanting to eat.
And we all just kind of came together and told them. I know one staff member from there has been handing out lists to families of different child care centers trying to get them out.
Little Beginnings was the third place she worked after issues with the 2 other facilities.
The amount of need versus what there is, that's way out of ratio. And I think a lot of directors are just so desperate for hiring people that they'll just hire anyone off the streets, and that's what leads to bad centers.
Little Beginnings director Megan Kimball says the staff member swearing at the children was asked not to return to the center until a corrective action plan is put in place, or if it's determined that the member should be fired. Kimball went on to say, quote, "The safety and respect of our families is of the utmost importance to us at Little Beginnings, and we have notified all families that for at least the remainder of this week, we will be closed to evaluate protocols and training of all employees." A spokesperson with DCF tells me that violations of this severity are not common at child care centers across the state. In addition to citing those violations, the state has planned the Little Beginnings license the license into provisional so it can stay open, but includes limitations on the staff who can work with children and no new enrollment of children. Reporting live in South Burlington, Lucy Caile, Channel 3 News.
Do we need an example?
These Danville High School students.
How do you feel about Packet 5?
Hard at work.
The 6.02.
But whether they'll learn in these classrooms next year hangs at the back of many students' minds.
And it's just brought a lot of tense moments when we bring up what's going on.
8th grader Jordan Sullivan Stevens says it's a divisive topic amongst her peers who would have to change schools next year if the closure goes through. Sullivan Stevens says she's had the opportunity to go to private schools, but has chosen to stay at Danville.
I want to be here, like this is where I want to graduate, and it's not just because my family's been here, like a lot of people think that, it's because this is where I think I'd get the best education.
The Saturday vote comes after a community member brought a petition forward to close grades 9 through 12 at Danville School and to tuition students to independent high schools out of concern that changes to legislation could mean losing school choice if the school eventually closes. But some parents say the decision is too rushed.
And we've been unable to have a robust discussion about what we want for our community, about the future of education. And I'm really deeply concerned about the many collateral costs of closing down this school.
An affirmative vote would only be a recommendation of closure to the school board. School board chair Clayton Cargill is not convinced it would save your tax dollars.
We can't find money savings in this. We find initially there would be a bump in spending, but overall, the plan can't prove, the Act 73 plan of closing high schools and redistricting nobody's proven that it will save any money.
The community can vote here at the gym at 3 p.m. on Saturday. There are shuttles available for those who need transportation, and we'll have that information on our website, WCAX.com. Reporting in Danville, Lucy Caile, Channel 3 News.